What's up, everyone? Eli here, back for a collection update. It's going to be kind of like the last one, instead of black metal and movies, it's going to be death metal and movies. So, for the black metal guys, the other video, and for the death metal guys, this video. We're listening to something that I've had for a little while. I don't really know what it is or what you would call this. Ambient, I guess. Yeah, I guess. Anyway, it's called Misanthropia, the Dark Misanthropic Art. Limited tape, I got 23 out of 50. I don't even know what record label put this out. Death Crush, deathcrush.net, or Art of Misanthropia. They have a website. But anyways, I know nothing about who this is. I barely know what kind of music it is, but I'm playing it just because I have it, so why not? Anyways, get on to the shit. Oh wait, first of all, I have a big announcement. I was debating advertising this on my YouTube channel. Debated it pretty hard for the last couple weeks, actually, and I chose to do it. Anyways, Louis, what the fuck, man? I am starting a distro. Right now, I have a bunch of stock already. Right now, it's pretty much all black metal cassettes. It's going to be all cassette for now, unless I change it in the future, which I might. I might add CDs, vinyl. Haven't decided. Right now, it's just a tape distro. There's some death metal in there. Like I said, some ambient stuff. It's 98% black metal. Some pretty underground shit. But I got some gems. A lot of this stuff I'm not familiar with, to be honest. But there's some real fucking gems in there. Now, I will move on to the reason why I was debating advertising it on my channel. And the reason for that being, I didn't really want, like business and this channel to collide. Or if somebody had a complaint or something, I wouldn't want them leaving it on my channel. That's part of the reason why. The other part of the reason is I bought all these cassettes as a lot. I did not get to go through and pick and choose. There's quite a bit of NSBM here, I'm not going to lie. I know it's a controversial topic. No, I'm not going to get into how I feel about it. I'll never get into that. But what was kind of holding me back is I didn't want some of my friends on here to disown me or look down on me or whatever. Like I said, most record labels and most distros sell NSBM, whether they believe in it, the ideology, or not. And like I said, I'm selling it right now. I'm just going to say I'm selling it because, like I said, I got all these cassettes as a lot. I did not get to pick and choose, so I didn't have any say in what I purchased. I just got everything, and I'm not just going to not sell it and fucking hold on to it. I don't need 100 copies of some crappy random NSBM band. Not that I think they're all crappy by any means, but anyways, I just wanted to get that off my chest. I know some of you guys are heavily against that, and I totally understand. I just didn't want any of my friends feeling uncomfortable or anything like that. But anyways, I'll stop rambling about it. I will leave a link down below. Right now, it's just a crappy blog spot. I don't even know if people use blog spots anymore. I had one from years back that was set to private because I pretty much dismantled it. So I just fucking changed the layout a little bit and made it my distro page. So I'll leave a link. Check it out if you want some black metal cassettes. If you live in the U.S. especially, I'll hook you up. Prices are good. I will ship internationally, but I don't think any of you guys would want to do that, just with the price of shipping. Unless you see releases I have that you can't find in your country, then I understand. But if you can get them closer to where you live, you might want to do that. But like I said, if you want to order, I'll ship internationally, no problem. It just sucks. The postage rate is kind of outrageous. But anyways, I'm excited about it. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long, long time. This just kind of got thrust in my lap, really. I just had this opportunity to buy all this distro stock, and I jumped on it, and I'm happy with the decision. like I said, I just have the crappy piece of shit, 2012 blogspot. Literally, I think that's when I started it, maybe even 2010. I'm gonna start an Instagram page for the distro pretty soon here. So when I do that, I'll let you guys know. And yeah, just check it out. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of what I'm doing here. Yeah, if you want any black metal tapes, holla at your boy. Nah, just kidding. But anyways, moving on to the shit here. I'm gonna let's start with the movies. As you guys know, I've been on kind of a movie kick again. I come and go, especially with horror. It's my favorite genre, but sometimes I'll go a month or two where all I watch is Seinfeld. But lately, I'm back in the horror mood, so I got kind of working on my Hammer horror collection. Got Horror of Dracula. I believe this is the first. Yeah, well, it says right there. It's the first movie where Christopher Lee plays Dracula, so that's pretty cool. I have a couple of Christopher Lee Dracula movies already. I don't watch many, like, what do you call this, Hollywood monsters or whatever, the classical black and white horror. So I'm kind of trying to get into that a little bit, just to say that I did. So we got the Boris Karloff Mummy here. This is on Blu-ray with this cool little slip sleeve here. If you're a comic book fan, you might recognize the art style there. There's only one guy that paints like that, although usually he does it in color, so it does look a little different. But Alex Ross of DC Comics, great fucking artist. So take this little thing off. I got this for like $3 at some discount store, and I guess there's not much on the inside. There's more cool artwork. It's a Blu-ray disc. Oh yeah, and it's like one of those steel books, they call them. So yeah, like I said, like $3 or something, so that's cool. Here's one that I have only really been vaguely aware of. I don't think I've known about this movie for a long time, despite the fact that it came out in 1919. We got The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. I watched a little bit of it last night, but I was too tired to finish it. It's pretty awesome, man. It's really cool. It's very creepy. I really love how I'll just call him a monster. I don't know if that's what he is, but I really love the look of him. This guy did a really good job, played a really good creepy villain, I guess you could call him. Like I said, I don't know if I said it's a silent movie. I've been kind of getting into silent films, just because like there's all this stuff out there that I never really got into. I was kind of late to the table with horror too. I didn't even get into horror until I was like 21, 22, and then even then it probably took me years to get like heavily into it. So I watched some of the 80s stuff growing up a little bit, not too much. I didn't grow up watching any like black and white classic horror. What are they, Hollywood monsters? Is that what they call it? That's bothered me. But anyways, like Boris Karloff stuff, Vincent Price stuff. I've seen bits and pieces of it as like a teenager in my early 20s, but I just didn't grow up with that stuff. I grew up with like Seinfeld and X-Files, and so I'm just kind of dabbling on all the eras of film that I missed out on, which is quite a bit. This next one isn't a horror movie, and usually I mostly just show horror, and I mostly only buy horror movies. I don't really collect any others unless it's like a classic or something. I just randomly saw this at a local store. I'm like, I have to get that. So we got Coonskin by Ralph Bakshi, who you might know. He did the animated Hobbit movie in the 70s. There's the back, by the way. It just sounds fucking cool, man. I had never heard of it. I don't know if I'll read this to you. Nah, you guys can look it up on your own, but it's got Barry White as the main character, I think. And I don't know, I'm stoked for this. I think it's going to be really cool. So yeah, look that up. Look up Ralph Bakshi, just in general, if you like, art, if you like animated movies. Check him out. His work is, it's got a nice body of work, that's for sure. I just said a dude had a nice body, didn't I? Now we'll get to the CDs. That's all we got left here. Nice stack of death metal. I've been hanging on a lot of this stuff for months, just waiting for, to be shown on a video. So none of this stuff I bought recently. A lot of it I either bought months ago, or still some of the I was able to get quite a few CDs with my gift cards that I got for Christmas, so some of these are from Christmas. This one, however, which is a total random buy. I don't know why. I saw it, and I don't listen to like a lot of modern death metal, like the brutal and technical styles. But I saw this. I knew this band was from Japan, and I just said, "Fucking why not?" Desecravity. This is their third album and newest album, Anathema. So yeah, they're just like a brutal tech death band from Japan. I think that's what I said. I guess I've seen people refer to them as the Japanese Origin, and I do like Origin, so it might not be something I'll listen to more than once, but it could be something I'll really dig. It's a gamble. I knew that going in. One of my favorite death metal bands. I've talked about them numerous times on this channel. Acheron with I think this is their second album, Lex Talionis. This is different cover art. This is just some fucking. It's very generic. I mean, that could be a cover for 500 different albums. I prefer having the original covers, but I do kind of think it's cool when represses come out with different artwork, because sometimes people will buy it just for the new artwork. They already have the original, or so it's kind of cool. But I think maybe there should be options. You should maybe be able to get one or the other. That would be awesome. Original cover and then an altered one. I don't know. I have to pay two artists, I guess. I don't know what the downside to that would be. Next we got this is an American death metal band. They've been making a lot of waves. Decibel magazine is really championing these guys. This is like their second full length, something like that. I'd never heard of them before this, but Outer Heaven with the Realms of Eternal Decay. Upon first glance, I thought that cover art was really cool, but the more I looked at it, it's kind of shitty. This guy right here, though, does remind me of oh shit, what's that Austrian death metal band? I'm drawing a blank right now, but you guys know what I mean. What is this? What death metal album cover does this remind you of? Tell me. You know what it is. I can't. Anyway, should I just put it down without? Okay, I mean, I couldn't really get into this. I've given it like 4 or 5 listens. I know people that like this album quite a bit. It's sludgy, swampy, death metal. More of that. Not so much cavernous, but more of that grimy, old school sounding death metal. I read a review. I think it was in Decibel too, where the guy was like majorly comparing these guys to Incantation. I don't think they sound like Incantation at all. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Maybe slightly, but Jesus Christ. I don't know. It's just something. I don't know. Something didn't click with me. I'm hoping I can listen to it maybe a couple more times, and maybe I'll like it a little more. Okay, my memory's starting to kick in a little bit. The album is called Rhapsodies in Red, but I can't remember the band. Rhapsodies in Red. Anyways, let's move on. I'm getting way too fucking distracted by pointless shit. Next, this is a reissue of an all-time classic. We got Stormcrow Fleet by Skepticism. The reissue came out on Svart Records. Skepticism are a classic funeral doom band. A lot of the time I just say doom death, but I guess, they're more... Funeral doom is what a lot of people call this kind of music. I don't know. Yeah, I guess you could call it funeral doom. I'm trying to remember. I think Skepticism are from. I think they're from Finland, but don't. I'm not actually a big Skepticism expert or like a massive super fan or anything, but I know I do like some doom death and funeral doom. I do like this album. I've heard it in the past. I don't listen to much stuff like this, but I know it's an important album for the genre, and thought it'd be a cool thing to own and actually dig into it. I can never really dig into an album until I own it. It's weird. It's like this. I don't know. It's weird stuff. Next we have, this is more deathy thrash metal, but we got Sodom with Tapping the Vein. This is their, what was it, 88? No, 92. Fuck. 4 years off. 92 album here. This one is kind of hit or miss for a lot of people. A lot of the, original fans, couldn't quite get on board with this because they didn't like the stylistic change. Instead of, just playing straight up thrash like they did before this album, the album that came out before it, classic, but this one has a lot of death metal influence. It's a lot. It's almost, you could call this a death metal album and you wouldn't really be wrong. I always said that this was their, I think they were, this is just pure speculation. I don't have any evidence of this, but I always thought they were just trying to, modify their style a little bit to stay relevant. Thrash metal was just not, in 92, it was not popular. It was, what little was left of decent thrash was just turning to shit. Everyone was, adding funk elements and rapping vocals and all kinds of weird stuff. Just 90s was pretty much the death of thrash. It never really came back. That probably sounds offensive to, if someone's in a thrash band watching this, but you know what I mean. It hasn't been the same since like maybe 88, 89 if you're being generous. But anyway, I personally like it. This is possibly my favorite. It might be my second favorite Sodom album. I always thought it was fantastic, but I wasn't listening to Sodom in the 80s or even 92 when this came out. So for me to hear that as, maybe their second album or something like that, I don't know. I've always liked it. Here's another classic that my collection was sorely missing. Napalm Death, Utopia Banished. This is the second album with Barney Greenway. This one came out in, I wanted to say 92, just like that. 92, same year as that Sodom record. So, as you probably know, as soon as, Barney came in Napalm Death, I don't know if it was his idea or, everyone's idea. I don't know whose idea it was, but they became much more death metal. Harmony Corruption, the first album with Barney Greenway, is pretty much a pure death metal album. There's still some of the grindcore elements, left in there because Napalm Death can't not play anything with grind elements in it. But I always considered it a death metal album. This one is a little bit more grindcore again. Less death metal. They were going back more in the grindcore direction. I guess you can call this a death grind album. There's still death metal elements, definitely. Something I've been meaning to get my hands on for a while. It's not an album you see every day or a band that you see every day, but we got Estuary of Calamity with The Sentencing. Estuary of Calamity were one of the early bands of Ash Thomas, who's pretty much a Cleveland area metal legend. Right now he's in Faith Extractor, who are kicking some serious ass right now. He's in another one, Shed the Skin, who put out a really good album. I think it was last year. This guy's just great. He was in a doom death band also in the 90s called Thorns of the Carrion, which I thought was really good. But anyways, get back to this band. Estuary of Calamity, pretty much, I would call it like melodic death metal. There's some folk elements in there. What else? Yeah, pretty much melodic death metal with like some folk elements. There's some flutes and stuff like that. It comes off kind of strange, to be honest, because you don't usually hear. I don't know. It just sounds different. It sounds almost like it doesn't quite work. But overall, the riffs and the solos and the songs are well written. Everything is well played. It's a fantastic album. Like I said, the folk elements might turn quite a few of you off, but if you can get past it, it's a good album. They went to become, they dropped the Calamity part years after this, and they just became Estuary, and they were signed to what was his record label called? Ibex Moon. John McEntee from from Incantation. That was his record label, which I thought was really cool that McEntee ran it. I'm kind of bummed that it didn't work out. It folded after. I don't think it really went that long, but it was cool. He put out some cool releases. Here's another kind of off the cuff type purchase from me. The newest Decrepit Birth album. What the fuck? I don't know what it's called. Axis Mundi. Decrepit Birth. If you've been listening to death metal for a long time, you probably know who they are, especially if you keep up with the newer, younger bands. They are from California. This is, I think, their fourth full length. Yeah, pretty sure it's third or fourth full length. They've been around probably a little more than 10 years. On their first album, I think it was their first, might have been their second, got a lot of attention. These guys were on the hot seat. But they just kind of, they didn't stay there because I think I don't know if they're really a full-time band, you know what I mean? Like the gaps in between albums are pretty big, and you hear them playing some shows here and there, but I don't know. I'm sure these guys probably all have day jobs and stuff like that. I don't think Decrepit Birth is full-time right now, but I gotta say I thought it was a pretty good album, to be honest. I don't listen to stuff like this almost ever. I did a little bit in the past, 10 years ago, but pretty good, man. It still sounds like what I remember Decrepit Birth sounding like, which is like a suffocation, death kind of combo. Put those together, and yeah, I mean, I can't really talk about it much, but I thought it was really good. So even if you're kind of iffy about modern death metal, look into that album. You might like it. Here's an album that I bought purely out of nostalgia. Another 1992 album. I had this album years ago and got rid of it, but yeah, that's kind of a nostalgic bastard. So I saw it in the store for cheap and I grabbed it. And I liked this band a lot for their first two albums. Back in the day, I never listened to them anymore, but you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? Fear Factory, Soul of a New Machine, debut album from them on Roadrunner Records. We all know Fear Factory. That's their best work, definitely. I think even getting sick of this band for becoming new metal, I think I could probably listen to this and think it was okay. We'll see though. I have everything from this band except for this album. This one just kind of eluded me, so I'm glad to finally have it. Got the debut Grave Hill with Rites of the Pentagram. I was speaking of Ibex Moon Records earlier, John McEntee's label. This one came out on Ibex Moon. So yeah, I think I have a couple of their releases. I think this is a re-release of their debut album because this one comes with a bonus disc of live material, which I'm definitely going to watch because I've heard these guys are cool live. And they're just they're a cool band regardless. There's the other disc and some pretty sick cover art there. I imagine everyone knows Grave Hill by now. They've kind of gotten a decent amount of attention, and they deserve it. They earned all of it. Black death metal with some thrash elements. Very, very crushing and just gross old school, just caveman death metal, but with some black metal elements and even some thrash elements. Very, very good stuff. Very well played. Catchy songs, just great fucking band. Man, did this come out? This also came out in '92. What the fuck, man? Isn't that strange? Stranger Aeons EP from Entombed. Nothing special here. It's got Stranger Aeons, Dusk, and Shreds of Flesh. All tracks that you can find elsewhere on other albums. But yeah, Earache, Relativity. It was cheap, so I grabbed it. I am a big fan of early Entombed. I don't go much past the second album, but yeah, the early stuff with LG Petrov, I like all that. This is another band that I like. Got this album really cheap. I kind of thought this was when this band was starting to get good again, kind of picking it up after releasing some turds. But I think I'm one album off. This one is definitely a turd. Unleashed with Sworn Vengeance. There might be some good stuff on here. I don't know if it's completely terrible, but overall, yeah, I found it pretty bad. I think it was right after this though they would bounce back with a really good album, and they've pretty much been going strong ever since. Here's another old classic. I don't know if it came out in '92. That would be cool. I think it did though, but I could be wrong. Crimson Relic with Purgatory's Reign. Classic re-released by Dark Descent. I don't know what label it came out on originally. But there's a connection actually. I was just talking about Gravehill. This band, Rhett, what's his name? What's his last name? Rhett Davis, drummer. This was his old band, and then he. This band didn't last too long. I think they were only active for a couple years. This is the only album they put out, and I think it's the only thing they did. Period. But this is great, dirty, dirty old school death metal. Like I said, I want to say it came out in '91 or '92, but could be wrong. I'm no expert on that band, but it's easily a 9 out of 10 death metal album. Glad to finally own it. I think our buddy Brain Smasher showed this one a month or two ago when he was on that Grindcore Records kick. Grindcore was oh shit! I didn't know they were. I didn't know they were based in Illinois. Maybe that's why Ben likes them. But they were a cool label. They put out a good handful of stuff. I'm not really familiar with most of it, and this is the first album of theirs I've gotten. Victims of Eternal Decay, self-titled album. Can I say about Victims of Eternal Decay? They're a death metal band, definitely. I've only listened to this album once. Old school, kind of doomy at times. Dirty, rough death metal. Not polished, just very gritty and primal. I want to say there's some doom elements, but I can't remember. I've only gave this kind of a cursory listen, and they kind of reminded me of Sorrow from New York, the old doom death band Sorrow. On first listen, that's kind of the band that came to mind, anyways. Got a couple more guys, hang in there. We have the fourth full length from Horrendous here with Idol. I like how there's no logo on the cover. That's really cool, and it's a pretty awesome cover. There's the back. Came out, like I said, last year. Horrendous are a U.S. death metal band. Very young dudes. Started off playing pretty much, old school obituary, kind of style death metal. But even after that first album, they pretty much started to progress kind of in different directions on every album. And they are very much playing death metal in the progressive vein as well. Great musicians, man. These guys, their chops just get better with every album. It's like they become, just a completely different player. And, they are definitely in, top form on this one as far as their technical chops. These guys they're young dudes. They're great musicians. I didn't really care that much for their last couple albums, but this one I thought was a step up. This album is good, and there's very little what I would call filler on here. It's a short album, or it seems short. Maybe I just enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was like 35, 40 minutes maybe. So I feel like it they made the most use of that time as they could. There's definitely tons of riffs and a lot going on, but none of the time really feels wasted. Once again, I don't listen to this kind of death metal often, but I thought they kind of killed it on this one. Add to my Nunslaughter collection here. I think I have a lot, but I probably only have like 5% of their discography. This is a live album here, Waiting to Kill Christ. Really fucking cool cover art, actually. I really dig that. I really dig that on the back, too. And I think on the inside there's some cool shit. Oh, yeah. Gotta show you that. Just really fucking cool artwork all around. Put this out. This came out from Beyond Productions out of Holland. Huh. I'm not familiar. So where was this show played? I already said it was a live album, I think. Oh, okay, maybe it's not all the same show. This is a re-release. It came out on a cassette back in 2001. I don't know. I don't want to waste your guys' time. It's all live stuff, none slaughter. I never really understood why they have like 500 live albums, but let them do what they want. Got two more here. Two more. Here's another classic my collection was sorely missing. I don't know why I've never owned this before, but we got the debut Demolition Hammer album, Tortured Existence. I might like their second album a little better than this, but this is really fucking close. This is not an original release. I mean, an original pressing. The original came out in 1990 on Century Media. This came out in 2006. So yeah, I don't know if I showed that. Nothing special on the inside, just decent booklet, but classic brutal death thrash metal. I called these bands that were doing this kind of stuff. I pretty much call this like the last era of thrash metal. It kind of had its last second wind in the early to mid 90s. Bands like them and like Devastation from Texas, and they were more of a death metal thrash, but it was still very much thrash, and I thought that was cool that at least thrash kind of went out on a high point. All the other well, some of them did anyways. These guys actually put out a shitty album. Their first two albums are just bona fide classics, but their third album is a piece of shit. All right, that is actually all the CDs. I just have a cassette now to show you. Another band that I love. I don't own all their stuff, and I got this cassette super cheap. I actually, this is part of a trade that I made with some kid online, but this is the second Rigor Mortis album, Rigor Mortis versus the Earth. It had a half-price books sticker on there. I keep trying to get it off. There's like 500 stickers on here, and I can't get them. Anyways, second Rigor Mortis album came out in 91. Classic Texas thrash metal. Texas, very unique thrash metal. No one sounded like them at the time. They didn't sound like anyone at the time. To this day, I still think this band was unique. Dirty thrash metal, definitely, with maybe just a little bit of death metal kick. All the songs are just written perfectly. It's just so good. Mike Skasha was the guitarist, and for death metal, I always thought he was one of the better. Well, I don't know, kind of death metal, death thrash, more thrash. But anyways, Mike Skasha I thought he was one of the best guitarists of his time. The dude just could play. I think he played in Ministry for a time also, but he passed away, unfortunately, not too long ago. And even more recent, I want to say within 2 weeks ago, I think, Bruce Corbett, singer from this band, passed away he had some kind of cancer he'd been battling for a couple years, and seemed like a pretty cool dude. I saw his other band, what's it called? I saw them live, War Beast. Him and some other like Texas metal legends. I can't remember who else is in that band. They're pretty decent. They put on a really killer live show, and then I listened to their CD after that, and it was okay, but it was kind of disappointing. Maybe that was because I saw them live and they were so fucking good. But yeah, they are no more, I think, because Bruce passed away. I saw them live, and I even talked to him just randomly, and he was really nice guy. At least I thought. I didn't know him super well, but it's not cool when anyone dies. It's whether you know him or not. I mean, you gotta I don't know. You gotta feel it a little bit, or at least pretend. All right, that's all I got for now. Like I said, I'll try to. I gotta remember to leave a link for my distro, and check out my tapes. If you want anything, just shoot me an email, and we'll talk about it. So thanks for that. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk soon. Cheers.